Ooh, Tekashi, you in trouble. Yo, it's like this dude can never stay out the way and trouble always seems to find him or someone closely associated with him. And this time, it was his mom that was held captive as he was away from the house unalive. These dudes must have been watching him very closely because 6ix9ine was not at home and live streaming with Jack Doherty when it all went down. But it was 4 gunmen that entered the house looking for money and his car keys, and they held his mother up during the process. And in the videos, you can see them gingerly holding her hand, pulling her. These people treated his mom, the hostage, very nicely. Didn't rough her up or nothing. Even the dog wasn't barking, which led some people to question if this was even real or fake. Even social media started accusing the Island Boys being guilty of robbing 6ix9ine, but they had to come out and deny that they were part of it.
If I see one more comment about someone talking about 6ix9ine, I'm gonna get mad. Stop talking about it. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear a theory about it. I don't want to hear none of that. Oh, it was this. Oh, yo, Red. Yo, Red. Listen, boy, listen. Stop that, okay? You guys are causing me a lot of trouble, okay? Detectives came to me already, okay? Like, it's getting ridiculous. They're going to my mom. Like, this is a big problem. If you guys keep going with this Island Boy stuff, I promise you I'm gonna get mad.
So as of now, we don't know who did it, but this is just another example of getting your home invaded while someone is there, just like these other situations. Pop Smoke, rest in peace, man. He was just getting started, but back in February 2020, he was killed during a home invasion robbery. Around 4 a.m., 5 men broke into the house and there was the girl there with Pop who they put under gunpoint, to which they made their way to Pop Smoke, who was taking a shower at the time, and they confronted him to give it all up. The youngest one of the robbers was only 15, and he's the one that pistol whipped Pop Smoke and shot him 3 times in the back, taking his life. And the messed up part about the whole situation is that the kid is already home free roaming the streets, because at the time it happened he was a minor and only had to serve 4 years as part of his plea deal. A home invasion gone wrong, and he even did interviews on No Jumper talking about it, and he doesn't sound very sorry about it, but he does apologize and says that Pop was just at the wrong place and wrong time. Lil Durk, currently still locked up awaiting his trial, but back in 2021, him and his girlfriend India was home when their home became victimized. Several men had broken to the home early morning looking for the goods, but they did not expect a shootout to happen because Durk and India was busting back at them, which caused them to run away, but no one got hurt during the incident. Durk and India stood 10 toes down and was not about to be victims of anything. Eminem, he really had a real life stand after him because the same person broke into his home on 2 different occasions. Like, god damn, dude, you really want some of that Eminem, huh? But Matthew David Hughes was convicted and sentenced to 15 to 30 years in prison on first-degree home invasion and 3 to 7 years and 6 months on aggravated stalking. What? This dude is getting more time than actual killers, 15 to 30 years. Sheesh. The first time he broke into Eminem's home was in 2020. Eminem had woke up to Matthew standing behind him, and Matthew told Eminem he was there to kill him, but security wasn't too far to get him. The second time was in 2024, and he was arrested again. This nigga is obsessed. So because of his stalking ways and threats, he's gonna be sitting down for a long time. Let's see if he tries again when he gets out, buddy. Bun B. Back in 2019, a man had broken into his home and had his wife at gunpoint. One of the worst feelings ever. On the day of the invasion, the robber showed up at the door and she thought it was her Amazon delivery. And when she opened the door, he forced his way inside and held her at gunpoint and was attempting to go upstairs to Bun B, but his wife told him to go take the car instead. Bun B, as he explains, was on the 2nd floor of his home taking a shit on the toilet when he heard all the commotion going on and hearing his wife yelling, "Just take the car." He hurried up from the bathroom and grabbed his gun and popped the intruder and wrestled him to the ground and tells the dude to unmask himself so he can see who the hell trying to rob him, and hoping it wasn't one of his own people. And the robber ended up getting away and later showed up at a hospital to get treatment, and that's where he got caught. The robber, DeMonte Jackson, was sentenced to 40 years in prison for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. DaBaby. Back in 2022, a dumbass man had walked onto his property. Who knows what he was there for or trying to do, but DaBaby wasn't here to ask all those questions. After DaBaby noticed him, both of them had some words back and forth before DaBaby popped him in the leg and called the police to come take care of business because the guy was neutralized at the time from being hit. DaBaby was cleared from any criminal charges as he was defending his home. Soulja Boy. The infamous Soulja Boy story that can never get old. But back in 2008, after leaving the club, some dudes had followed him back to his crib. When him and his boys were hanging out, he says 5 men kicked down the door with AK-47s and they was telling everybody to give it up. Soulja Boy, who was in his home recording studio at the time, heard the noise and came out with his gun, and he says he started popping the dudes and he hit 3 of them. One of the guys fell to the ground and was crawling, and Soulja went to him and took off his mask to see who he was, and he says it was one of his homeboys, basically an inside job, and he says he shot him again in the back after he realized it was his boy. Listen, not sure how much of this story is actually true, but the incident did in fact happen, so people can't say it's cap. Just maybe didn't go down the way Soulja explains it, but he got off with self-defense because his home was getting invaded and he was getting robbed. LL Cool J. Mama Said Knock You Out wasn't just a song for no reason, he really lives by this, and a robber who invaded his home had to learn the hard way. Back in 2012, a man had broken to LL's home, and I'm sure he regretted why he did it. But when LL heard a noise and went downstairs, he found the intruder in his home, and LL beat the shit out of him before calling the cops to get him. LL had broke the man's jaw, his nose, and ribs. God damn, this nigga already buff as hell and you trying to rob him? But clearly it didn't go as planned as LL took care of business. All y'all home intruders better watch out, cause not everyone is for the play, and y'all gonna have to learn the hard way. And as far as the people whose homes are being invaded, you gotta keep extra precaution, especially as a high profile celebrity living in a big ass mansion. You're gonna be a target at some point. This happens way too often and it's not gonna stop anytime soon, especially in places like California where the homeless camps and the rich millionaire mansions are only blocks away, so that doesn't help. But you gotta protect your neck and peace at all costs or end up like a fatal situation like Pop Smoke and others. Keep your head on a swivel. But this won't be the last of Tekashi getting ran down or something happening to his home or someone associated with him. But we shall see how it all plays out. But yeah man, thanks for watching. I'ma catch you on the next one.